Hello everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Boost Your Asset Reliability and Uptime, hosted by Engineering Industries Excellence and partner SAP. I'm Ramona Fieser, Senior Marketing Manager at Engineering Industries Excellence and your moderator. A few housekeeping notes before we start. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the chat or question boxes, and we will address them at the end of this discussion as time allows. Lastly, the webinar recording will be sent to you. Now I want to introduce you to our speakers. Sebastian Hafner, he's an asset management practice lead at Engineering Industries Excellence. With over 10 years of experience, Sebastian is a digital supply chain expert providing design, implementation, and integration of end-to-end digital supply chain and Industry 4.0 solutions to improve the processes. Then we have Piyush Pote. He is a principal consultant at Engineering Industries Excellence. With over 10 years of experience, he is a digital manufacturing and asset management expert involved in the design, implementation, and integration of enterprise SAP plant maintenance, intelligent asset management, and mobile asset manager solutions. Third speaker in the round is Jim Navet. He is a senior account executive for SAP Digital Supply Chain at Engineering Industries Excellence. With over 20 years, he helps to improve operational results by leveraging organization capabilities to overcome current and future obstacles across a highly competitive business landscape. And then the last speaker in the round, Simon Lee. He's a senior solution manager at SAP. For the past 8 years, Simon has been working on APM topics, first as a product manager and now as a solution manager, providing expertise in applications and analytics for IoT, predictive maintenance, and more. Thank you very much for joining us today, Simon. Before we get started, we want to have a little poll for you. So you will see this on the screen now. Are you planning an IoT initiative for predictive maintenance in 2023? You have 3 answers here. Yes, scheduled for 2024, or no, but trying to build a business case and secured funding. So we will give you some time to vote here. While we're waiting, Sebastian, any forecast on the results?
Yeah, I think that many companies have predictive maintenance definitely on their radar, kind of as a future optimization initiative within the asset management and plant maintenance space. But I think that very little of the companies actually started realizing those strategies yet. So it's more of a future initiative. That's what I would be expecting. But yeah, I'm excited to see the results on that one.
Yeah, let's have a look. And I'm showing them right now here. So we got 17% for yes, 0% for scheduled for 2024, and 83% no, but trying to build a business case and securing funding.
Yeah. And really creating a solid use case and business case, showcasing that ROI, that return of investment of implementing a predictive maintenance solution will be crucial. And yeah, we hope that with this webinar today, we can get the discussions and the conversation started and yeah, give some ideas and inspiration to the audience on how to approach it.
Great, thank you. Then now let's jump in and I turn over the presentation to Jim.
All right, folks, thank you for joining today. We appreciate your time, and we look forward to transferring as much information as we can during this time. Today, we're going to talk about some key components and challenges that customers are facing, the SAP Intelligent Asset Management product, and how we as an organization can implement to produce effective results for your company. And then as well, we're going to do a demonstration led by Piyush Pote, who's going to walk you through several modules within the product. And then we're going to talk about how to get started for working within this space. And finally, we'll wrap up with some value add or value proposition from Engineering Excellence and how we can assist you fully. I'll turn it back over to Piyush. We'll hand it off to Sebastian.
I'll take it from there. Thanks very much, Jim. And yeah, also welcome to the webinar from my side. As introduced by Ramona, I'm Sebastian Hafner. I'm heading up our asset management practice within Engineering's Industries Excellence Group. And as for today's webinar and on the next couple of slides, I will be giving you a general introduction on the key components, the challenges, but also the benefits of predictive maintenance. But before we get actually into those details, I would like to address the question what predictive maintenance actually entails. So predictive maintenance in general is a proactive maintenance strategy that leverages both real-time sensor data and maintenance history of a particular equipment, and then applies AI models and machine learning algorithms in order to predict when the equipment is most likely to fail. And companies can benefit from insights like individual recommendations as to which maintenance measures to apply when, in order to prevent the breakdowns from occurring by leveraging an APM tool like SAP Asset Performance Management that we're going to discuss as part of this webinar today. So as we look at this slide right here at the bottom, we have a very reactive state of plant maintenance. For instance, with reactive maintenance, preventative maintenance, which are not the most ideal maintenance strategy, but still we see them in the industry quite a lot. So it's either running an equipment until it fails, until it breaks down, and only then we take reactive measures to fix the issue and get the machine up and running again. Or on the other hand, we also might have a scenario where we have a time-based maintenance schedule. For instance, we could be replacing a sealing of a pump every 4 weeks. So both these two maintenance strategies highlighted in black are not most ideal, and they result in high cost of maintenance because we might run into over-maintaining equipment, for instance, where we replace parts that are still good, or where we apply complex maintenance procedures on assets that are still in mint condition. So this drives up material costs and labor costs unnecessarily, and we definitely want to avoid that as much as possible. On the other hand, reactive maintenance and running to failure, we want to avoid any disruption of our production flow. And of course, with the breakdown, we also want to avoid any safety hazards to our production staff as well. Alternatively, what we can use, highlighted in red in this pyramid, are more proactive maintenance strategies. When we have different layers right here, as you can see, for instance, with condition-based maintenance, we actually take into account the actual asset condition and derive appropriate maintenance strategies from that instead of holding it very generic. So that could be done 2 ways. For instance, we can capture sensor values manually by the help of our plant maintenance technicians by conducting several different readings like pressure, temperature, humidity, vibration, etc. Or ideally, we could directly integrate sensor values directly from the production machines in our APM tool and visualize the data accordingly. Then on top of that, we also have predictive and prescriptive maintenance, where we leverage this incoming data and the data integration in order to run machine learning algorithms and predict potential machine downtimes in the future and get recommendations from the system as to which measures to apply when, ideally right before the machine breaks down to achieve that optimal return on the asset. And also the tool basically helps us with identify common failure modes and attaching appropriate maintenance plans and maintenance measures to resolve those failure modes as well. And lastly, we can also run risk and criticality assessments, failure modes and effects analysis in order to identify those particular assets within our organization that need the most attention and the best maintenance strategies. All right, up to the next slide. Oh, we have a second poll. So we would be interested in finding out from the audience today which maintenance state your company is in as of today.
Yes, so we got 4 options here: reactive, preventative, time-based, preventative, condition-based, And the fourth one, predictive, prescriptive, reliability centered.
And what we, like I said at the beginning, what we see in the industry and working with our customers is that many companies to this day still use and deploy reactive or preventative maintenance strategies, and predictive, prescriptive, and RCM related maintenance strategies are more identified as a future initiative. But let's see what the poll says.
Yeah, I'm sharing the results now. So we got 18% for reactive, 36% preventative, as well as preventative, condition and time-based, and 9% for predictive.
Very good. So there's still a lot of room for optimization in general.
Okay, great.
Cool. So on the next slide, we basically highlighted a couple of key points why every manufacturer should consider implementing a predictive maintenance solution. And the two most critical aspects of it are, first of all, of course, to prevent any frequent and unforeseen machine breakdowns. So we want to avoid any disruptions to our production flow. And also we want to avoid imposing any risks to our production workers. And secondly, we also, of course, want to reduce the total cost of maintenance and be as lean as possible without running into those frequent unplanned machine breakdowns. So what companies also struggle with a lot, especially if they use a more preventative condition-based maintenance approach or time-based maintenance approach, is that they end up in a situation where they really apply too much maintenance to an equipment that actually doesn't require it in order to run smoothly, which results in high material and labor cost. So the first 2 points are very important, very big pain points, and APM systems like the one from SAP help you to tackle those challenges more easily. As a result of those 2 points, we also have a shorter asset lifespan, a poor return on the asset, and in general, as we're lacking the data and the data integration, we also lack the visibility into the actual asset health, which in conclusion makes it very difficult to identify any root causes for common failures. So all those are key pain points why companies basically should consider implementing a predictive maintenance solution. All right, so on this slide, we highlighted the key 3 steps and components and also challenges of predictive maintenance. So first of all, everything heavily relies on the data, especially the quality of the data and getting that full picture on the asset. So we need to ensure in the first step that we integrate all the relevant data from various sources, like directly from the production lines, the sensors, temperature, vibration, humidity, but also take into account any data from historians, equipment logs, or past maintenance history that might be stored in SAP PM, work orders, notifications, etc. So we want to have a full integration into those data points to gain this full visibility. Secondly, we need to analyze the data properly in order to identify common failure modes, failure patterns, and trends, and then apply and set up machine learning algorithms that basically produce us the results that we're looking for and the insights and the recommendations that we're looking for. And this can be challenging because sometimes it requires very specialized skills, especially in the data science area and machine learning. So that can be challenging for companies to deploy, but solutions like APM, for instance, come with out-of-the-box algorithms that you can leverage for failure detection, which make it a little bit easier to overcome this challenge. And the third and final step is to apply the feedback loop, because this is not a one-time setup. It's really a continuous process where we continue to gather data and insights about the asset and continuously improve our maintenance plans accordingly. And failure to monitor and adjust the maintenance plans basically prevents companies that use an APM tool to really fully exploit the full potential and get the best benefit out of their investment. All right, so by implementing a APM tool like SAP APM, we have seen that companies achieve a variety of different benefits. But on this slide, we just highlighted the key ones. And also studies have shown that with the implementation of an APM tool, you can improve the overall equipment effectiveness by up to 20%, just by enabling that the machine is running as reliable and smoothly as possible, and by avoiding any unforeseen disruptions of your production process. And then also by taking proactive measure and tackling problems before they occur and before the machine breaks down, you can reduce unplanned machine downtimes by up to 45%. And then, as I mentioned before, by applying the right maintenance measures at the right time with the right resources, just before the machine would basically break down, we can reduce the overall cost of maintenance by up to 30%. So those are just some of the key benefits in numbers that might you want to consider a predictive maintenance solution. And in order to implement strategies and tools for your organization to overcome those challenges more easily and achieve similar benefits, SAP actually released a holistic set of asset management solutions called SAP IAM for Intelligent Asset Management that basically consists of various different solutions. So at the foundation, and if we look at the graph on the right-hand side, of course, we have our SAP plant maintenance system, where we manage our asset data, our asset master data, where we set up our maintenance plans, our maintenance processes, etc. And then, of course, we have some sort of scheduling and dispatching solution, like S4 resource scheduling for asset management, that allows you to easily assign new work orders to your team of technicians, and also see things like the overall availability, the utilization of your team, and the status of the ongoing maintenance tasks. On top of that, we also have mobility solutions with SAP Service and Asset Manager that allows your technicians to receive work orders directly on a mobile device, to retrieve all the relevant information about operations, the problems, the maintenance procedures, documents, conduct the work, and also take it as a data capturing tool where they, for instance, can confirm their times, they can capture the materials they used for a certain maintenance task, and synchronize everything back into SAP, where follow-up processes like cost settlement, etc., are automatically triggered. And then on top of that, we can also leverage asset strategy and asset health, which is both combined in the APM tool that Simon is going to further discuss on the upcoming slides. So over to you, Simon.
You're still on mute, Simon, I think.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Sorry about that. The next slide, please. So, as Sebastian has mentioned, we provide a suite of products that's called Intelligent Asset Management. And we have actually been providing APM as a performance management capabilities for many years. We've had a product that's called ASPM, Asset Strategy and Performance Management, that focused on providing reliability tools and developing maintenance strategies and maintenance recommendations. And we have had a product that's called Predictive Asset Insights, PAI, that's providing asset and condition monitoring tools using industry IoT, Industry 4.0 technologies, MI, AI, ML, etc., providing predictive and prescriptive maintenance capabilities. And last year in February, we actually brought these products together into a single product. And our vision is to really create that closed loop that Sebastian has talked about. So for example, when you use reliability centered maintenance as a methodology, creating a maintenance recommendation, perhaps the maintenance recommendations to trigger a predictive maintenance action and be able to implement that entire flow, recommending or providing a prescription that's coming from the asset strategy and providing that intelligence gain back to the reliability tools, creating a risk and criticality assessment, for example. That is our vision, okay? Bring them together into one single APM tool. The next slide, please. And the other compelling event for SAP to bring together these two products is what we call one domain model. And the goal here is that we want to help our customers to really leverage their existing investments in SAP EAM. So S/4HANA maintenance management and ECC plant maintenance by allowing APM as a product to speak the same language using the same master data model across these business processes. Okay, so it's actually very, very important. Historically, we've actually used a slightly different model on the APM side with the ASP and PAI. And with one domain model, all the integration issues have gone away because it's truly APM using the same S/4HANA data model for all the APM processes. Okay, so the end result to our customers is that there's a closed loop between APM and EAM as well. Okay, so the maintenance strategies coming to EAM, executing based on the maintenance strategies and maintenance recommendations. Okay, the next slide, please. So let's dive into that process a little bit. At the very high level, the process looks like this, right? So of course, again, using the same asset master data across APM and your existing EAM investment, S/4HANA or ECC, be able to define asset maintenance strategies based on a variety of reliability tools and maintenance methodologies such as RCM that Sebastian's talked about. Being able to define maintenance rules to help execute these asset strategies. We'll talk about how we can make these condition-based and predictive maintenance or prescriptive maintenance in the next slide, and continuously monitor these asset health and conditions based on the strategies. So that's APM. So with APM as a product, it provides all these capabilities. Then, of course, previous slide, please. Then pushing the backlogs, pushing the maintenance demands into EAM, so that, of course, on your S/4HANA or with your plant maintenance, be able to plan, schedule, and assign the resources to actually execute the maintenance activities. And finally, bring all these data together, blend all these data sources with out-of-the-box integration to provide you with that enterprise level analytics and visibility across APM and EAM. The next slide, please. Okay, so I'm not going to talk too much about the asset strategy side because our focus today is really about providing predictive maintenance. But on the product side, right, so we recommend the best practices, of course, is really focus and implement these asset strategies capabilities to help you understand the risk and criticality of your equipment. Be able to leverage methodologies such as reliability-centered maintenance to codify, understand, and manage by failure modes. Developing maintenance recommendations so that predictive maintenance can be prescriptive, right? So when these critical equipment have a risk of having these failure modes occurring, right? So when these things happen, what do we do? What are the right tasks to perform? So all this is part of creating maintenance strategies and maintenance recommendations. Then, of course, one of these maintenance recommendations can be, oh, let's do predictive maintenance, or let's do condition-based maintenance. Then let's talk about the other capabilities. The next slide, please. So with APM and with what Piyush is going to actually show you in the demo is that APM can bring together sensor data from different sources. So perhaps you already have been collecting these sensor data from your SCADA or legacy OTs or other IoT systems. We can absolutely ingest these data from your data lake, from your data historians. If you have devices, smart devices or equipment, of course, you can connect through our IoT capabilities. So we provide a very agnostic way to support all these different endpoints or data sources. Once you bring in these data, then our goal is to enable the business users, your reliability engineers or your maintenance engineers as a strategist, to be able to actually build AI models. Okay, take advantage of AI, artificial intelligence, and ML, machine learning capabilities to drive insights and predictions. Okay, and once those are created, we enable, again, the business users, the reliability engineers, the maintenance engineers to create these rules. And these rules are sitting on top of all these data sources. Sensor data, but more importantly, be able to taking measuring points or inspection data results from your EAM, right? So Sebastian actually talked about that. These data could be collected manually, manual readings or inspection data. It could be maintenance histories. Bring all these data together using rules to continuously monitor the conditions and the health of your assets. Okay, without IT help. The business users be able to do that with the GUI. And the next step is when something happens, right? So for example, the AI makes a prediction or there are conditions going beyond certain OEM thresholds, the rules can automatically trigger alerts and notifications. Or you can, of course, manually create these notifications based on the analysis. But these notifications or these backlogs will go into your EAM. Then, of course, EAM, your S/4HANA or ECC plant maintenance take over. The next slide, please. So very briefly, APM is a SaaS solution that's sitting on top of SAP Business Technology Platform, or BTP. It takes advantage of our IoT capabilities, so embedded SAP IoT. So SAP IoT, well, SAP has exited the platform as a service market. Embedded SAP IoT capability is very much supported for APM. So we will continuously provide embedded SAP IoT capabilities. In addition, we provide plant connectivity, or PICO, and production connector as part of APM. So that means they can easily using our standard technologies to connect your PLCs, your data historians using OPC protocols and other standard protocols. We use SAP Analytics Cloud to provide that enterprise level visibility, and you can blend all these data sources together using standard integrations, and we use SAP AI Core, okay, to provide AI capabilities from BTP. And of course, as I mentioned, using one domain model, using standard BTP kernel services to synchronize with your S/4HANA, all different flavors, as well as your ECC plant maintenance. The next slide, please. Just to close, again, ultimately what APM provides is what Sebastian said, helping you increase asset reliability and availability, and to reduce maintenance costs by reducing over maintenance, ultimately optimizing the risk and costs of all these activities by providing all these functionality, common data model, managing your failure modes, developing strategies and recommendations based on things like RCM, be able to implement these recommendations from APM to EAM seamlessly using industry 4.0 technologies to monitor and predict asset health, measuring performance, providing enterprise visibility across all these data sources. That's what APM is about. Okay, so to you, Piyush.
Thank you, Simon. Thank you so much for introducing the complete SAP Intelligent Asset Management portfolio. So, okay, so to demonstrate one of the functionalities of asset performance management, that is health indicator monitoring, we put together the demo test case here. So let's consider the pump motor running at a plant location and generating a sensor data for different indicators like temperature, pressure, and the rotations. So in reality, the sensors are always connected to the PLCs and continuously sending this time series data, that is nothing but the measuring data, to a SCADA system or any kind of a data acquisition system. So to mimic this scenario, I have a SCADA simulator that is nothing but the OPC UA server to generate measurement readings for different indicators like pressure and temperature. So this is most of the OT layer. If you look at the two slides, that is the physical motor with the sensor and the HMI SCADA OPC UA server. So this is the OT. So to connect the OT layer with the IT applications, I'm going to use the SAP plant connectivity. That is the application from SAP. So in short, SAP plant connectivity enables the exchange of data between the SAP systems and any industry-specific standard data source. So that data source may be a plant historian, it may be a SCADA, any HMI, or any PLCs. And it uses a standard protocol like OPC UA, MQTT, OPC DA. So all the standards protocols are supported by the SAP plant connectivity. Then we have a SAP IoT over here. So we are going to use the device connectivity API from the SAP IoT just to onboard any equipment or the device in the IoT network. So you do not need to separate SAP IoT subscription to work with the SAP Asset Performance Management, because the SAP APM has an inbuilt subscription for SAP IoT with a service plan called as a one product. So once we have this connectivity set up, we can see the time series data in the APM application. So here you can see the indicator charge where the values are fluctuating for the different indicators like pressure or temperature. And finally, we are going to trigger the notification or alert to a SAP S/4HANA Enterprise Asset Management solution, like a demand generation if any threshold value goes up to the certain limit, or like if the temperature is greater than 180 degrees Celsius, you simply trigger the notification to the SAP Enterprise Asset Management. Okay, so without any further ado, I will simply switch on to my SAP APM cockpit. So right now I'm in a SAP BTP sub account. So in the sub account, you can simply see here the SAP Asset Performance Management subscription. So if I click on this application, it will open up the login portal. So if you have any single sign-on for any Active Directory kind of thing, so you can use that corporate sign-in to log in into the SAP APM. And definitely you don't need to go to the BTP account. You can simply bookmark this link or provide this link to your business user and navigate to the APM dashboard. Okay, so I'm at the APM dashboard right now. You can see a different groups over here like master data, asset management, asset health calculation, health monitor. So all these are the processes within the APM which support the RCM, predictive analytics, getting the health indicator data from SAP IoT and from the sensors. So the first thing I want to cover here is the administration. So if I go to the administration, you can see the two styles over here. One is the configuration manager and the other one is the integration monitor. So let me navigate to the configuration manager first. So in the configuration manager, so first thing you need to define your SAP Enterprise Asset Management solution. like which backend system you are going to use. So for example, here I have configured the SAP S/4HANA on-premise system. So we have a S/4HANA 2020, which works with the APM with the help of a SAP mobile add-on. And you need to just provide the system name, system ID, and the client number, and then just put the data replication on. So this is the most important thing to get your equipment or function location master data from a SAP Enterprise Asset Management into APM solution, that is the Asset Performance Management. So I'm going to use this word interchangeably, APM and Asset Performance Management. So if you go into the details of the configuration here, you can see, so you can decide here what kind of equipment or function you want to bring it. So for example, here I want to bring the general equipment. So if you want to have a linear category equipment, you can bring that equipment as well. So it's kind of a filtration, what data you want to bring into the APM. So let's say you have a multiple plants and you don't have the APM implemented for all the plants, but you are just implementing the APM for one of the plants. So you just want to bring the function location and the equipment from that particular plant. So what I have done, so I'm just implementing this APM solution for 4,000. So I just put the criteria over here. The planning plant should be 4,000. So because of this integration, you will see all the function location and the equipment sync up into this Explore Technical Object tiles. Okay, so that's the communication integration between the APM and the S/4HANA system. So whenever the data syncs, you have the APM has provided the capability where you can see monitor the data, how many objects are synced. So for example, the configuration master data or the master data or the transactional data like the notification. So how many notification you got synced. So you can see the status over here when when your sync has failed, successful last attempt, successful last attempted on. So that kind of monitoring you have done in the integration monitor. And here you can see the synchronized data metrics where you will get the count of each object. So for example, I can see I have 3 classes sync up with my APM from SAP S/4HANA or ECC EAM. So going back, so the next one is the master data. So explore a technical object styles. Here you can see all the function location and the equipment master which are synced from your SAP S/4HANA system. So you can see here the equipment list and the function location list. So let me go into the top level function location, that is the Mobile Task Consulting Chemical Unit. So here I can simply click on the contextual hierarchy. It's the same the way we usually see the hierarchy in the SAP Enterprise Asset Management solution with the help of a IS01 transaction. You can simply navigate to your equipment or function location. So right now I have the air compressor. So I'm going to use one of the pump for our demo purpose. So let's select the 121 ABA pump. So if I click on the pump 120 ABA, you can see the details of the pump. So all this data, like a general data or the manufacturer data, location data, it comes from the SAP Enterprise Asset Management. It may be a S/4HANA or ECC. So this is so you will see all the details on the information tab. Then you have a class and characteristic tab. So if you go to the pump classification, so here you can see the different characteristic and its associated value over here. And then most important thing is the indicator. So indicator is nothing but the measuring point in a SAP Enterprise Asset Management. So I have a measuring points defined in my SAP system. So let me quickly show you the SAP system over here so that you will get a clear idea. So I just need to log in and look for that equipment. So the equipment is 10010. So if I go to the measuring point over here, you can see the pump pressure, pump temperature, and pump RPM is the characteristic and the measuring points. So here you can see the indicator. So measuring point is reflected as an indicator in the SAP Asset Performance Management. So definitely you can create the local indicator as well. So if you just need to click on the local indicator and you have to provide the associate characteristic. So for example, the pressure indicator is associated with the pump underscore pressure characteristic. You just need to provide that detail and simply click on the create. So I already created it's automatically sync up from the SAP ECC, or you can create the local one. If I go to the one of the indicators, you can see the details over here, like a description, the characteristic, the position, and the category. And then you have again a configuration. If you want to do the configuration, for example, you want to put some certain color for particular indicator to showcase in the indicator chart, you can simply click on the color and select the color. Then you have a threshold definition. For example, if you want to have a threshold, different threshold, let's say I want to have a 2 or 3 threshold, like from ranges from 50 to 80, 80 to 100. So you can simply define that threshold over here. So if I want to show 80 to 100 should be at the critical threshold, I can just put the color over here and you can display this into the indicator chart. Then you have a forecast here. So let's say based on the train or past data, you can simply forecast the indicator data as well on the indicator chart. So next one is the indicator monitoring and analytics, that I will cover it later. But before that, I just want to show you how I'm simulating the value over here. So I have a OPC UA server where I'm simulating the value. So I'm just bringing that here. Okay, so if you look at this OPC US server, it's a simpler simulator. It is simulating the value for the pump, like the indicator pressure and RPM and the temperature. If you closely look this one, the values are getting changed every 5 seconds. So right now the temperature is 65.94. Now it is getting changed to 68.07. So this HMI is already connected to the SAP plant connectivity software, and from plant connectivity it is connected to the APM. And because of this one, I can see the indicator monitoring chart over here with the data. So you can see here the data, the time series data from the actual sensor, and here you can see the threshold value. The threshold is between the 65 to 75 for the temperature, and this is the monitoring chart. If you want to do the analysis for a particular period, you can simply select this one and highlight it, and you can just see this value at particular time. Then there are multiple things over here. For example, this is just the pump temperature. If you want to see the different indicators, you can simply select whatever the indicator you want and then select, and you will be able to see the other indicators as well. So right now the temperature is a highlighted one, but I can simply highlight the other box as well. Okay, for example, I just want to highlight the pump pressure, so I can see only the pump pressure reading highlighted over here. And then you have a few settings over here. If I go here, if I want to see the indicator chart in the form of lines or the points or both lines and points, you can simply select that kind of configuration over here. And then if you have a threshold defined, you can simply switch on this threshold so that you can monitor your readings, how closely it is fluctuating in between the threshold range. And then if you switch on the forecast, you will see the forecast as well for the future time. And then you have a different values over here, whether it's a maximum, minimum, and both. So right now I'm showing the both minimum and a maximum value. So for example, here I can see the maximum value. So temperature reached up to 174.82 till now, and here it's 165.02. And then here you can see the duration. So duration, let's say I want to monitor my temperature just for 1 hour, you can select the 1 hour. If you want to do the analysis for a complete day, you can select it for 1 day. You can see here the breakup because my simulator was not working at that time because it's a simulator, but in the actual this shouldn't be happening. And then you can select a week, fortnight, months, years, and custom date. So you have all this configuration, you can do it over here. So this is all about the indicator monitoring. So this is how we are getting the data from actual sensor into the APM indicator monitoring dashboard. Now let's consider if the pressure threshold is going beyond certain limit. Let me select only the pressure over here, so it should not do any confusion. So let's say I have a pressure over here, and I just want to trigger it has a range from 165 to 174, but I can just simulate the value beyond 175 so that it will generate the alert and the notification in SAP S/4HANA or in APM as well. But before that, I want to show you a few configuration over here. So let me navigate to the first screen. Okay, so again, we are on the first screen of the APM application. Here you can see the rules and the alert types. So first I will cover the alert types over here. Okay, so I forgot one more thing, how the data is getting synced. So that's important. So sync technical object IoT. So if I click on this one, if you want to sync all your sensor data, you just need to switch on the configuration. For example, if I click on this one and sync to IoT, it will automatically enable the IoT sync with the help of a SAP IoT. So this is the important step to get the indicator data on the APM dashboard. Okay, so let me move again to the alert types. Okay, so here I have defined a few alert types like a critical alert, informative alert, or warning alerts. So I'm just going into the critical alert. So the severity is error. So you can define as per your requirement. You can define any severity, and then what category, whether it's a machine related or the operation related, that kind of category you define. And there is a small switch over here, deduplication, which, for example, let's say if the threshold is triggered, okay, and the temperature is going beyond the 180 degree, it will generate the different alerts. But I don't want to generate the deduplicate alert if my measurement readings are going beyond 180 degree. I just want one in a day or in 2 days or in 3 hours. You just simply deduplication on and keep the period over here so that the system will not generate a multiple alerts over here. It will generate only in between, only after this interval. So this is the alert type, and then you need to define the rule over here. So if I go to the rules, okay, so the rules is nothing but the logical condition which system evaluates against the indicator time series data. So if I go to the general information, so here you can see the rule type. So you have a different rule type. For example, this is the streaming rule type, because I just want to apply this rule on the time series data that I'm getting it from the actual sensors. But you can define the schedule rule as well, so that it will trigger at particular schedule interval. And then you have a different other like actual rules as well, and then the streaming rule. Okay, and the next step is to define the data set. So data set is nothing but the technical object. So for example, I just want to create this rule for a set of technical objects. So you can simply go into that one and select that technical object. So for the simplicity, I just put one technical individual object over here, so that I just want to run this rule for one particular equipment. So you can select the individual technical objects, or you can simply put the rule dynamically. For example, I just want to apply this rule for a particular class. You can define that rule only for that class. So whenever the equipment is or the function location is having that class, the rule is applicable to that technical object. So you can define the dynamic selection criteria as well. So this is all about the data set. So that data set is important. So once you have the technical objects defined, you can see the indicators from that equipment. So for example, I selected one equipment which is 120 ABA pump. So I can see the related indicator over here, and I can select those indicators. And then you have a characteristic. Let's say if you want to bring the characteristic, select the characteristic, you can simply select the characteristic from that technical object. It will be available automatically. You just need to select it. And then the attributes. For attributes is nothing but the different fields, for example, the planning plant, function location, or the technical identification number. So for example, I have selected the technical identification number over here. Okay, so once you complete this configuration, you have the output over here. So whether you want to trigger the alert or the notification. So right now I am triggering the alert. So once you switch on this alert, you will get the rule editor option over here. So in the rule editor, you are going to define the actual condition when you want to trigger your alert or the notification. So for example, here I'm saying if my pressure reading, latest pressure reading is going beyond the 175, it should trigger the critical alert model. So you can trigger the alert as well as you can trigger the notification. So for the notification, it will be like this. So if I go to the configuration and if I look at this, so I just switch on the notification over here. So in the rule editor, you will get more options like the first one is the if condition, when you want to trigger the rule, and then what priority of the notification, what type of notification, the description of the notification. So it simply uses the expression language. You don't need to have the programming language over here. So even business user can do this easily. So this is all about the rules. So the next step is to trigger the value beyond the threshold limit. So what I'm going to do, I will first open our equipment indicator chart. I will go into the 120 ABA indicator, going into the indicator monitoring over here. And in the back end, I'm just changing the value of the. So here. So currently I'm generating the pressure reading from 165 to 175. Now I increase the range to 179 so that it crosses that threshold of 175. So if I so right now I'm on temperature. Let me select the pressure. Select. Okay, so I got the value 177.6. So as per our threshold, it should not, if it is crossing 175, it should trigger the alert and notification. So if I go back into the dashboard, I can see here the health monitor tile where I can see the alerts. So you can see here this alert just now triggered. You can see the time occurred on, it's on April 13, 10:53. So this is the simple alert over here. So you can convert this alert into the notification. For example, you just need to select the alert and then create the notification, and it will put the description here. You can just simply update the description, webinar demo, and then select the notification type. For example, M1, you can put other data as well and simply click on the create. So as soon as you create the notification, you can see the notification assigned to this alert and the notification also alert status is in progress. Okay, so this is all about the alerts. So as I said, it also triggers the notification because we have one rule which triggers the notification. So for example, this 002 rule, so it triggers the notification as well into the S/4HANA system directly. So if I go to the SAP system and go to the IW28 transaction, so I have one variant, I'm just executing it. So I can see here the notification generated. So it is continuously triggering the notification because I didn't put that condition of a particular interval. It is simply sending the notification whenever that condition reaches. So if I go to the first notification that we created it from the alert, you can see all the data came into the SAP S/4HANA system. Okay, and if I go to this notification, so this notification is having, so I just put this in the description like the APM notification and what is the current reading, and you can put the long text in the APM rule what kind of long text you want to put. So for example, what technical type it is, the equipment type, then technical ID, the timestamp it triggered, and the measurement. So you can see the timestamp here, it's in the UTC, not in the CST format. So this is the notification that we received it from the APM. Okay, so next is if I go back on my indicator chart again. So that way you can just monitor the health of your asset by monitoring the indicators value. And once you have those data available and you have a different notification created, you have a work order, you can do the analytics over here. So as of now, I don't have that data. So once you have that data, you can simply define the machine learning model. You have to train that model. You need to define the different failure mode, and then you will be having the prediction when your motor may fail in future, at what interval, for what reason. So that kind of prediction you can do it with the help of the machine learning and the artificial intelligence. So with this, I will conclude my demo part over here, and I will switch to the slides again. Okay, so okay, so the next one is we have a quick poll. Do you already capturing the IoT data within your technical assets? So we have 3 options here. Yes, capturing and storing IoT data. Yes, capturing, storing, and analyzing the data to prevent the future failures. And you're still not capturing the IoT data. So you must have an option on your screen.
Yes, so give it a couple seconds, but yeah, see already starts coming in. So I'm going to share now. So 38% for yes, capturing and storing IoT data. 25 say yes, capturing, storing, and analyzing to prevent failures, and 38 no IoT sensors installed.
Okay, that gives a much information about the trend, what's going on in the market. So yeah, we are good on this one. So next one, how you want to start the SAP Asset Performance Management implementation. So the first most important prerequisite is to have a SAP Enterprise Asset Management module. You may have a ECC or S4HANA, so it will be supported with the help of a mobile add-on if you have a SEC, and if it is a S4HANA 2021, you can simply integrate the Asset Performance Management. And if you are on the previous solution, that is the Asset Strategy Performance Management and the Predictive Asset Insights, you can simply migrate to SAP Asset Performance Management. Okay, so I will hand it over to Jim on the next slide.
All right, folks, in the essence of time, I'll keep this short, but what I want to do is just let you know that as an organization, we offer full end-to-end digital thread for the digital manufacturing, from design to operate. Our global footprint as an organization is over $1.3 billion euro revenue, I'm sorry, and last year. We're based in Italy, and it's a migration of a group from Mobilitas to our acquisition last year. And so as an organization, we include a practice for Siemens as well as SAP. Next slide, please. Can you get the next slide, please? There we go. And again, like I said, it's from design through the actual operate is what we work with as an organization. But today we looked at the access management practice, which is part of the produce thread. But we operate within the entire space, and we're available to work with anything. And next slide, please. Here's an example of some customers that we worked with in both the Siemens and SAP practice. For example, Illumina was having some serious issues with machine downtime, production issues. And so we implemented the predictive asset intelligence insights, which resulted in reduced downtime, increased effectiveness for machine renewal, and it's all created a more proactive versus reactive situation for them. Extremely positive. Next slide. Again, we have the 4 pillars that we talked about. We do end-to-end in Industry 4.0. We have over 415 plus resources globally available for the practices, and we've been in practice for over 20 years in this space. So I would just like to say at the very end here, I welcome any conversations around your environments, anything that you would like to discuss on preparations, where you're at as an organization. I'm always available to talk. All right, thank you very much. I'm gonna hand this back over to Sebastian. You're muted, Sebastian.
Okay, so we have completed today. We completed the asset data management is S/4HANA, asset monitoring and sensor integration in SAP APM. So our next webinar will be focused on how we can generate the work order in S/4HANA and scheduling. And then we will be doing the order execution in the SAP service and asset management. So this is our next upcoming webinar, mostly on a SAP service and asset management. So stay tuned on this one.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sebastian, Piyush, Jim, and Simon for today's lively discussion. This is all the time we have today. We know your time is valuable. On behalf of the team, I want to thank everyone for joining. For all the questions that we received, we will send the answers by email to you. So have a great day, and we will see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.